Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome back to Ventura Studio with me, Dan. Today we've got a fantastic model we'll be building, and it is this Back to the Future DeLorean, and it's in particularly from the first movie. And as you can see, this model has a lot of pieces, which meant I label up all the sprues before we get started. For some of you might have seen the most recent video on the channel, Back to the Future diorama. Most of you probably haven't seen it. The video's not doing very well, so go check it out. Kicking off then, just trying to get a bit of the undercarriage squared away, and the only real bit I want to show you is this awesome suspension, which is nice and detailed but really easy to put together at the same time, and it just means that those front wheels, they can all spin. And moving inside the car then. Here's me putting together, sanding down in some circumstances, but on the whole, this is a fantastic model. There was no flash, there's not really much you need to edit, there's no scratch build required, there wasn't even any fill-in required. This is pretty much good to go. You put it together and it looks fantastic. But all these little details for the dashboard, they really bring it to life. Now obviously a normal car dashboard is going to be pretty simple, but here we've got all of Doc's little modifications which help track the car or send it through time travel. And here's me putting together some of the sensor parting of the car. I'm not sure what all these devices do, but I mean they're a great bit of set dressing, right? Would you say this is the most iconic vehicle in movie history? It's got to be up there, right? And with all that, just putting a few finishing touches to the final bit of the build. And here's Doc's computer, which tracks, is it today's date, the date you want to travel to, and the last date that you visited. And there's all that gone together. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to paint it all as a oneer rather than doing all the bits individually. But here we can see, interior ready. Alright, so I'm not going to talk too much over the paint job, but just some of the colours that we've got. Here we've got a light gold grey and off-white mixture, which is going to form pretty much the basis of all of this interior. Covering off some highlights here with some just general flat black. And I've primed the dashboard with some black Vallejo primer, which is my go-to these days. And going over the dash here with just some rubber black, just to give it that little bit of pop. And then trying to trace my way around the center dash with just some black for the highlights. So here we go, most of the base colors down. And just squaring away a couple more base colors here. Being careful not to get this all over the nice gull grey interior. Some extra pipes on the outside, not sure what these are for, but I'm sure Doc knows. And here we go with some of the whites, so just really building up those colours, you know, you're not going to get hit, you're not going to nail a white colour on the first pass, so you got to build up to it with a bit of a thinner colour. But this bronze and gold, that really just popped straight away. Really liked how that came out. And don't worry if you know, well, I don't worry at least if I just go outside the lines here and there, because we've always got the old paint just to clear it up. And here you can see me struggling to open my nice sky color paint. Ah, there we go. Nice bit of emasculation live on camera for you. And that'll just cover off the dial. And then here we go, going back to the white to continue building up those colours. Same with the red then. You know, you can get a nice pop red colour straight off the bat, but I still like to build it up a little bit, or at least once I've got the first coat down, build it up from there. And there we go, not assembled just yet, gonna keep this ready for later, but here's all my pieces to go off to the shelf while I do the rest of the car. Now, I call this the rear detail. I'm not really sure what we should call it. Maybe the fusion section. But I thought rear detail, you know, we all know what's going on there. Basically, it's all the wires, cables, and engines that Doc's added to the car to help get it through time. So we start off with this. I think this is where the fusion fuel goes in the second film, but also where the plutonium rods go in the first. So I guess it's the reactor itself. And some nice colours on there, so a bit of burnt iron as well as some yellow. And then you can just see me building up all the little bits on the outside here. Loads of hoses, loads of pipes, loads of little cool dressing that, I mean, they must have had a blast putting this together for the movie. Just throwing on all sorts of sci-fi looking elements. And you can see that I left just a little bit of sprue attached to the front, and I thought this would just be handy to give me a little bit of space that I can just hold on to when I'm painting it up. And do you know what? That's probably the most intelligent decision I've ever made when making models. And coming over to this exhaust, this pipe. Again, we should probably know more about this model because I love this film so much. But I mean, it just all looks so cool, doesn't it? I feel like you don't need to know what everything's called. Just like it looks cool. But you can see me building up that color again. You know, it starts off really thin, and then each pass you go at it just gets that little bit of extra detail. All these reds, yellows, blues, whatever we use, it's always better to just build up to that detail. And there you can see it, right? Looks flawless-ish, he says. And just a couple of extra plugs here. Trying to line all those up so that when you end up putting it on the final model, it all clicks into gear. Now you can see that I've painted quite a lot of this on the sprue, and it was really because I just wanted to sort of nail those colours, you know, and it's such an intricate design that I wanted to assemble bits rather than spend half my time masking. And for this, I think it really worked. I mean, you could really get that good high PSI spray of airbrushing onto it, which gave it a really nice base coat, rather than worrying too much about getting my paint everywhere. Because I'm not too skilled just yet with the airbrush, but well, I mean, we're all getting there, right? If you watch my videos from last year, then we're definitely on the way up. And onto the flux capacitor then. So this is a rear panel for the interior. And again, it's just some more of Doc's equipment. But most importantly, we've got the flux capacitor, which of course is the thing that makes time travel possible. And here's the box that it came in. So just painting all that up, and then painting up the Flux. Now remember, so this is a model in static, and in particular for the diorama itself, which you can check out on the channel as I mentioned earlier. It should hopefully be linked either at the end of this video, or if you just click onto the channel, it should be one of the most recent videos. I guess if you're watching this when I upload it. If you're watching this in like 2026, which I hope you are, or beyond that, then it's probably not a recent video. But come back to July 2025 and it'll be there. But yes, for the point in time that this car is for the diorama, it is not in the state of time travel. In fact, it has just come through time and landed back in good old 1985. So the flux capacitor is not engaged. In fact, I believe it is out of fuel. But all these little bits have come together, finished that off, and then we can attach it with my nifty little sprue holder. I can plug that into the back there. And hey, it's looking pretty good, right? I'm pretty proud of this model. And coming over to the exterior body then. So I'm going to paint this up again without assembling. I'm going to leave these two handles just on the inside to give me a little bit of room to work through. Now I went for a black primer on this one, and it'll all become clear as to why shortly. But starting with a flat black Vallejo primer, I'm then going to take this Mr. Color, which is a nice high gloss black, and I'm going to go over all of that black with this one, which should give it a nice under sheen. Is that a word? Or a nice sheen underneath. And as you can see, it's helped it pop quite a bit. And onto my favourite job in the entire world, which is masking. Now, don't get me wrong, masking is super satisfying and one of the most useful tools in modelling, but I just really don't like it. I feel like this came out alright, not too bad, and it did its purpose, but my goodness, it's such a soul-destroying task. And if any of you actually like masking out there, then you need to see a doctor. But I masked up the front, the middle, and the rear because those are a bit more plasticky designs or interior colours. And instead we're going to go with a bit of the titanium colour, which is a Mr. Color Silver. You can see I didn't get my spray perfectly as we started, but as I continued with the coat, and especially on the final coat, it really just came together and really looked like the DeLorean for me. And taking off my masking to reveal whether it worked or not, and in fact this time it did. I'm going to use the paintbrush to cover off some of the interior bits, and this is just a bit of a flat black colour, which is a bit of the door trim. But however, the back and the very front, oh, got a bit on it there, fantastic, good job Dan. But yes, the back and the very front, alright, they seem to be quite plasticky silver. I'm not sure what they're made of. Maybe like fiberglass for like crumple zones and things like that. But I'm using this intermediate grey. I think it was intermediate grey. IGN grey. I'll pop the colours in the link. Or if you want me to send you the colour, please do comment on this video. Let me know that I forgot to do that in the description, and I'll be sure to add it and let you know which one it is that I used. And a bit more additional masking here, and this is going to be for the black trim on the outside. Now this was a real test because I thought I was going to completely ruin the bodywork, but on the whole it came out pretty well. Look at that. And some extra details you might have already seen on the last clip that I had already put the windshield in, but I wanted to focus on it because this is the best masking that I've done. Oh, and there's the car in the background. Sorry, breaking the fourth wall a little bit here on the magics of editing. And again for the door panels, just a bit of that extra black, and then some silver on the alloys. Going on to this exterior piping. Now in the film these are black pipes, or tubing, whatever you want to call them. But I wanted to add just a little bit of extra colour, just because the model can be quite grey and black, and I mean the DeLorean is absolutely fantastic, you know, set dressing or prop from movie history. And it changes from the first to the second to the third film. So I just wanted to add just those little pops of colour in honour of Doc, because I feel like it's what Doc would have wanted, to put your own shine on it. And you can see here that some of the external panels, but also the roof panel. And this is my favourite colour blue that you'll ever see. This intermediate blue from Mr. Hobby. I was a bit haphazard, slapdash, whatever you want to call it, with the DMC logo. And I just thought, you know, I'm just going to paint it up silver. I'm sure it's going to look great. But no, it looked terrible. It just looked like a blob. So I went back over it with a bit of black and just to define it up. And I think it came out pretty well in the end. To do the rear tail lights here, I wanted to go along and highlight all the raised sections in black, and then flipped it over, and we've got the red center, the orange exterior, and then the white just on the very ends. But then once it's in the model, you'll see the black lines pop through, and hopefully it will all look good. So what I'm doing here, I'm covering it in a bit of a gloss coat, ready for some decals, but also just to protect the paint. Now, in a lot of these sections, there's not going to be many decals, but where there is, gloss it up first, chuck a bit of micro set on, get the decal on, as you can see I'm doing on the screen now, take a bit of that mixture off with some cotton buds, and then go over the top in some micro sol, which just helps it all conform to the model. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like decals always just make it pop. You know, it really takes it from feeling like a bit of a toy car to feeling like it's a miniature form of reality. And here you can see me really struggle to put the clock on the dashboard. I didn't really get where it was supposed to go. I felt like in the film it went next to the speedometer, but apparently not. And with all the pieces in place, it's now time to get all that assembly in motion. So getting those windscreen wipers on, and I did have a little bit of a battle with this, but it came out alright in the end. And then getting the actual windshield itself underneath and attached, being really careful not to get any fogging up of that windshield, and then getting the tail lights into position, and I'll show you what I mean with the orange, red and white lighting shortly. Here you can see me feeding some of the tubes through the external panels in order to get this to pop into position, and we're good. It's really starting to come together now, right guys? And just some extra piping on the outside. And these really nice rubber wheels, which just pop very nicely into position a la so, with a nice little header inside. And you can see I've put that onto the bottom body, and now I'm just going to try and assemble the interior first. Always do the interior first, because trust me, if you forget to do the interior first, this can be a right nightmare. And thank God I lost that footage. But anyway, just some extra elements on the outside. Again, a bit of that piping that Doc's added to the car, and just really securing all those elements. Make sure they don't fall off in the end. So we can see all that pipe appears to be in position, and then it's for the grand moment of attaching the top to the bottom. I thought this way, no, not that way, this way. I think if we go back first and then clip it through the front. All good. Then attach some of the bumpers. Try not to use too much glue. I'll be honest, I think a lot of this you didn't even need glue for. I recall it just sort of clipping in, which was fantastic. I'm a big fan of. But now that we've got all that in, I can take away my guiding handles, which are where the door's going to go. And just move it on to that final bit of detailing then. So the car is pretty much in place. I feel like it could travel through time. As it is, might be a bit cold, but we just need those few extra bits of detail, especially the pulsing lights. Not that we've got lights on this particular one, but maybe in future. Who knows if we get another chance to make a model from the Back to the Future movies. And get all those into position to line up nicely. So nice. That looks good. And using a bit of regular Tamiya cement just to get the radar bit. I assume it's like a radar thingy. And then I really struggled with the vents that go at the rear. Could not figure out the way around that they're supposed to go until about my 25th go. But luckily I cut all that footage out. So you're all good. Now you can just think that I'm competent at what I do, but it's not really the case behind the scenes. And attaching up all those final little hoses to the top portion. As so, and a couple on the inside too, nice and fiddly bits, and just struggling to get the glue in, but we're in. And then to get the seat into position. There was a bit of glue underneath there, but couldn't see that, could you? And then put all the door panels together, glue it all up, and then realize that you can't get the windows in. So take all of it back off, then get the window in, and then put the interior panels back on and glue it up with some of our nice wing mirrors. With the doors on, like so, we just need to hold those doors in position. And then it's just a bit of the very final details. I think I've said final details about 5 or 6 times now, but I promise this is the final detail. So with everything glossed up, nice gloss coat over the whole thing. I'm going to use some micro set in various places just to get all of these little decals into position, mopping it up with a earbud, or earbud? It's a earbud because I'm Welsh. And then some micro salt on top, but it doesn't always work. And on these hoses in particular, I could not get it to work at all. So I went the old school route and used a bit of just straight up yellow. And I think that actually worked probably better overall. Same with a bit more red and some blue on other hoses. The tire decals here, just a bit of a DeLorean logo. And then just to finish it off, the outer time, the most iconic license plate in movies, and we're good to go for the final showcase. Alright, so there it is. The 1/24 scale Aoshima DeLorean from Back to the Future Part 1. I had an absolute blast putting this together, and this is arguably my best work so far. I would highly recommend this model to anyone interested in either Back to the Future or car models. And with that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. Every view, like, and subscribe is super appreciated by me, and hopefully I'll keep getting better, keep developing my skills, and we can keep making some awesome content, or eventually make some awesome content that all of you will enjoy. Until next time.